know, because I was like looking at the Uruses, and I liked the Cayennes a lot, or like Maserati has the Levante, but it's called the Trofeo.
Yeah.
Which those are pretty cool. And then the Audi RS Q8s, but you can't get those for, they're tough to find.
Yeah.
But this guy I use is like a concierge for athletes. This is Chicago. He got me like a list of cars really quickly, and he drove past an Aston Martin dealership and saw this and sent it to me. I'm like, I think this is it.
Did it already have the wrap on it, or?
Yeah. Which I don't understand why the previous owner wanted to wrap it, because I guess like my buddy just bought a Range Rover supercharged, and the dealership he bought it from, they had one of these on the lot, but it was like the original paint job. He's like, the amount of time it takes to paint one of these cars, it takes longer to paint the car than it does to build other cars. When I flew from New York to LA, I don't know how this happened, but some paparazzi was able to find out that I was on one of these flights, and I had went out. I had like a 7 a.m. flight, so I'm gonna stay up all night and go to the airport at 4.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I slept the entire flight. I was just super out of it, and I'm waiting that baggage claim, and I didn't even realize that this guy was snapping photos of me. And then I walked outside, my agent picked me up, and this guy just like had a camera on my face, just like asked me questions, and I was just like, yeah, whatever, like kind of thing. He followed us to my agent's house in Hermosa, waited, and my agent and I went to lunch, but we took his golf cart, which is on the back side of the house, so he didn't follow us to lunch because he didn't know where we were going. Came back an hour later, so I probably chilled for another hour. Hopped in an Uber, and then he followed my Uber all the way to my house in Newport, and then he got a drone and did drone footage of my house.
Jesus.
And then followed me to Whole Foods and just had video of me loading groceries into my car. And I'm like,
Do anything with it?
I mean, the photos were sold to the New York Post, and it was like, wow, former Mets, Noah Syndergaard gets groceries. Like, it becomes acquired to SoCal. And then I found out later from a buddy that he was trying to sell the drone footage too, and I'm like, that's enough, like this is weird.
Nice to meet you. Ryan, pleasure to meet you.
Good dog. Dog that he's obsessed with, and the dog would get in weird moods where he wouldn't eat his food, and then they started putting bone broth on the dog's food, and it's like a feeding frenzy now. Like they inhale it, and when they eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and when it's time for them to eat. You guys ready?
Yep.
Shoot with it on, and then it would like, I don't know how how comfortable throwing would be with cuffs on my arms.
Probably wouldn't be the most comfortable thing in the world, but I wouldn't. The whole idea behind like neurogenesis too with it is kind of cool. So maybe doing light throwing with it just for movement patterns could be pretty powerful. Just kind of creating that neural link. Just rolling out of bed, and who's that lady that she wrote a whole paper on it, on basically getting out of bed and doing 30 burpees or something like that, like immediately upon getting out of bed and what it does. It's pretty interesting. interesting. I can't remember her name.
I'm pretty slow moving in the morning sometimes.
Yeah. How long you usually, before you get up, or after you get up, how long before you jump in the cold plunge usually?
Probably 45 minutes to an hour. I feel like I was listening to a Huberman podcast about like your body temperatures, like when you wake up and whatnot. Like if you get into like a routine of doing the cold plunge at a certain time, would your body like naturally like anticipate that and wake up earlier?
Yeah, it does that with caffeine too. Yeah, definitely not just with temperature, but light, caffeine.
Do you tape your mouth when you go to bed?
No, that's been an interesting one. It would be hard for me because I have a deviated septum. So that one side, if I were to tape my mouth, I think I'd actually wake up a lot just out of fight or flight, just because breathing would be restricted on the one side a lot. So, but I'm pretty good about nasal breathing anyway. I think it's with
eye mask and mouth tape when I'm in a coma.
Interesting.
In a perfect world, I'd like to just build my own house, have the bedroom completely like concrete, have Faraday curtains, and then the entire house just be hardwired with internet, no Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I just get to hang out, look cool. Except actually the opposite of looking cool, look like a complete dumbass in front of real athletes, not someone that just tries to look like one.
Before I discovered like raw dairy, it would be cacao butter, ghee, brain octane, cacao powder, mushroom blend, beet pollen, collagen. What brand of collagen do you like?
I switch them up. I mean, Vital is pretty straight up. Also the Great Lakes.
Great Lakes, I like them a lot.
Yeah. It's just pure quality. Vital Proteins is pretty good though. I mean, there's nothing else in it. Just the flavored.
Roll back to the training facility and then
Sweet.
might do some arm care and then we can go get big. And there was his father with like his son that was like a disabled kid. And he's like, Clay, you're my son's favorite player. I'm like, wrong sport, man. Like, I'm not that guy. I feel like Clay Matthews a lot. I get, it was the Greg Olson.
Hey, after this video, do check out Thrive Market. Okay, if you are watching what you're eating and you're just trying to make better moves with your body and better moves overall, then I would definitely recommend they're an online membership-based grocery store. Okay, so you go, you log on, you can sort by what kind of foods you want. Let's say I want gluten-free options, check that box. Let's say I want vegan options, check that box. Maybe I want paleo, check that box. And it filters them so you can go shopping the way that you really want to with a couple clicks of a button. They're a huge sponsor on this channel. They have been for 4 years. They're amazing. And because they're an awesome sponsor, that link down below will save you 25% off of your first order, but also get you a free gift. So you definitely want to check out Thrive Market. So that link is down below in the description. And a big thank you to them and a thank you to you for supporting the brands that keep this channel alive.
Go on,
Thomas.
Eric.
Good to meet you, Eric.
Me too. Finally a good athlete.
Oh God.
Just gonna do a little bit of warm up still. Just gonna go bands on the wrist. We're gonna go arms extended. We're gonna go shoulder pulses. So we're gonna go all the way overhead. We're gonna go just pulsing all the way over. We got 10 to 10. So 10 total. We're gonna get into a push up position. Okay, just gonna do a scat push up. Okay, so we're gonna go 10 there. And then we got 5 shoulder taps. So you don't need the band for this one. Okay, so really get that scat to glide. And we got 10, and then we got 5 shoulder taps. Nice and slow on those taps. Alright, we're gonna keep that band. We're gonna go on the wrist again. we're gonna do, so on this one, it's gonna be a little bit more of a controlled range, but still that pulsing motion. So we're gonna go 10 with the thumbs up. Elbows stay pinched on the ribs. We got 10 here. We got thumbs in. We got 10. Thumbs out 10. Okay, so still that pulsing, but I want you guys to get that bigger range, right? So put up those hands. So we got a little, kind of like a triple here. So the first one we're gonna do is just gonna be pushing, when you're just getting that shoulder range without rotating the trunk. Okay, so we got 10s. We'll go with that shoulder distraction. We got 10s, and then we'll do. We'll go 10 there. And then extending right out, bring it back down to the floor. Mobility is like the performance side really is going to be to create that trunk stiffness for him, and really start to think about how we can allow for his like the development from like the ground, the velocity we're trying to develop like in a delivery, to allow for stiffness in the trunk so that separation can act more whippy. For sure. So that's kind of like the idea today is creating that stiffness, but then obviously the benefits come from like the thoracic mobility, like.
Yeah.
The other aspects that are not, they're more like byproducts.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
So we got one more on that lift and retractor. Last thing, we'll get our wall thoracic. So we'll come over to a wall, put on suspended, come back up, drop it right back down, another thoracic. Okay, so there's one squeeze here. So here we go, 10s. Probably get you to do a heel lift on that snatch squat press. So basically what we'll do is we'll set it up in here, okay? So we're gonna set you up at the bottom of the squat. That bar's gonna be behind you in the snatch grip, and you're just pressing, okay, straight up. So I think with that heel lift, it's gonna help. Okay, you're gonna sit down at the bottom of that, okay? And you can use this same heat, okay? So set it up, okay? And then what I want you thinking about is when you're sitting at the bottom, we're driving that straight up overhead, okay? So same thing we did on the floor, we're just controlling that range and we're pressing it straight up, all right? So when we do that, we're gonna go 5 reps, and then I'm gonna set up another barbell here, we're gonna do that snatch pull to the knee. So set that up. No, it's not gonna rest on your neck. Chest stays up.
My shit was hurting.
So we got here. We're gonna go outside the rings. Okay. So here.
First sit-ups.
3 seconds hold. Put it down. You're just going to drive the hips up. Okay, so drive the hips right to there. You want to press that bar right at the kneecap. 3 seconds. We'll go down and we'll reset.
Hey, you see it, right? Yeah, you see that?
How many reps?
5 reps. Last one.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Start the hips low. Go ahead and put it down. Set up low. Widen out your grip a little bit. Okay, and then as you come up, I want you just to lift with the hips. Right there. That's your spot. There it is. So squeezing the glutes and pull the chest off the floor, pull the feet off the floor, hands are in a W. There we go. We're just gonna hold, ISO hold.
My wife is like, no, I'm like, actually,
That's good. No, let's get those hands high, there you go. That's it right there. When you guys are in that position, and we're here, we're driving that hip up, where it's almost like the reverse end of an RDL, okay, right? Upper body's just staying nice and stiff and locked in, and that's why we're going with that wide grip so you guys can lock in those lats. And so we set it up, boom. Okay. That's it. All the way down to the shoulders. If you're too wide, it's really hard to kind of get those. Sit low, Noah. Sit low. That's it. Tired. That's it. That bar down. Get here. So bar stays up the kneecap. Hips could come up. Got it. That's it right there. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You can even go anywhere outside the ring. That's what the landmark is.
Holy.
It's an exaggeration, right? Is it there? You exaggerated that? That's what you have to do. We're trying to get that extension, that thoracic extension, because once you start to fatigue, that's where neutral becomes the fatigue point. But if you start neutral, low back rounding, right, is where we start to get the problems. Okay?
This one has an ER right now. Natural ER.
That's it. Two spots.
Brandon, how much was Scott doing last week? Remember? 30. All you guys did the same.
yeah, why don't you go to like 25?
There it is. No. Don't be finding your way. I get kind of like moving around and. That's done. All this stuff. That's it. Go. Pass out, chest up. Better. 15 seconds.
Switch, single leg. Power up. There you go.
Ow.
That's it, right there.
Those squats. You're in 3 seconds.
Oh, I just needed more load. leg up and never seen anything like that.
Good thing, right?
It worked. That was a lot better.
Oh, my hips. What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to pull up with the hip and then pull up with the trunk. I want it to be all one continuous motion with the hip. So take your time on these last two.
Yeah, so I want to go like this.
That's better. Good.
Yeah, I need true external. You take me to ER from here? Oh, man.
Look it up. We always put where we have our app.
Great reps. Good work. Last two reps were great.
Thanks, man.
Big breath. I guess, well, it does fix things for you. Better with that weight. Started at the bottom, and then when you get to the top, all it is that reverse RDL, right? So we're just stepping up. Press.
Yeah, they're hard.
Good job, boys. Take your time. We're gonna go with a full seated, legs extended. So we're gonna do like that half kneel kettlebell press we've been doing. But we're gonna go 2 dumbbells, starting here. Press. Okay. We have 5s each side. Thinking about pulling those toes back. Again, thoracic extension here. Okay. So we got 5 each side, and then we got a farmer carry heavy up and back. Okay. We have 5 sets. We're just pairing that as just one complex. Okay. And then we have a little conditioning today, and then you guys can do a little arm farm. So we go heavy on those farmers, so we'll grab some of the big boys there on this rack.
Both of them?
Yeah, we're going 2 arm. We're gonna go wall to end of the turn, almost like we're engaging that lat. Same thing that we were talking about on those pulls. So we're off the body a little bit. Tall posture.
And it was always tough for me to compartmentalize my conditioning and my lifting. Yeah, not want to. Yeah, it's like you get the 70% of both worlds if you do that.
For sure. I mean, that's the other thing too, is like that kind of lift that we did that first complex, you get a pretty decent condition effect from it too, right? Which is more like an aerobic base effect, but it's
Since having kids, I turned into this how do I get it all done in 45 minutes?
Yeah.
So it's like you start combining it, and that's when A, you get hurt, but B, it's like I don't get the same integrity in my lifts because I'm always trying to superset with something conditioning.
Complex it with something like the right complex, you can get like a good conditioning effect for sure.
Yeah, for sure. alternate row or something? Or?
Yeah, if you want to do row, then you go 90 off. Yeah, we can do that.
Doesn't enter RPMs.
Are you going? No, you're not going.
How many rounds are you doing total?
We're gonna go 5 rounds, so it's 90 on, 90 off. So if you want to do rower,
Yeah, we'll go. How about we go like, I'll go 2 rounds rower, then we switch to 2 rounds there, and we pick something else for the 5th or something. I don't know. Okay, cool. Stop it. Stop it 55 minutes.
I don't know if like reps are kind of hard to keep track on that thing.
yeah, I would.
Yeah, BFR's been a game changer for me, for sure. Huge on the back, for my lower back.
Both of them feel pretty tight.
Not too.
I'm
Not
going to
too.
get those little. Waters with salt.
That would be awesome.
Man, burns your mouth. Holy crap.
Simple's better, man. Do that for reps.
Carmel, it's like 5 hours. Yeah, with the kids. We've got 3 dogs, so yeah, kind of a.
Good for me.
Yeah. No, boys. Okay. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. Spring training win.
I guess worst case scenario, like March 1st, which is fine. I like short spring training anyways. It's a waste of time. Unless you're just playing games, for sure, but like, there's this, they call it PFPs, which is pitcher fielder practice, which is basically like just busy work for the pitchers. It's so mundane. It's like a ball hit to first base and you covering first base. I'm like, I don't need, instead of like, you can't simulate game speed with that. Like, you have to just work on athleticism and then let that take over. Whereas like, you do it in like your stations and your groups, it's like, coach hits the ground ball to first base, you jog over to first base, you field, you catch the ball. I'm like, never in a game are you just going at that speed, so I don't know, it's just busy work. Some teams are better than most at like monitoring that.
Yeah.
Like some teams probably spend 10 minutes doing it.
The real bummer is you're going to be away from your cold plunge for that period of time.